I spent years in that max, from where seeing like riots happen to even when the COs getting shooken up on, you know, like that just don't happen for nothing. Like, you know, the news will make it seem like it happened. There's always a cause and effect to why people, you feel me? Like, for example, like, you know, 2016 when there was a riot in the max, that we only used to get to take showers certain times of the day because the pipes was messed up, just because where they get their water from in Fort Devens, it had lead or whatever it had in it, you know?
Wow.
So we couldn't even use the shower for every rec time. So now coming back from gym afternoon, you telling people we can't shower. Mind you, some of us is double bunked up. It's 3:30. We ain't coming out at least till 6:30, which is the next rec. So you want us to stew and sweat for the next 3.5 hours after y'all just let us go to the gym. Y'all could have let us know there wasn't gonna even be no showers during that time period. Maybe people not went, you know? But then that led to a big thing, you know? But all the news sees, kids vandalize, or inmates vandalize unit, hundreds of thousands of dollars in damage.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Bounce Back Podcast. I'm your host, B. Luke. I got a special guest with me today, so why don't you tell the people your name, where you're from, and a little bit about yourself.
Some people call me Poster, but at the end of the day, nicknames are just nicknames. But my real name is Damonte, from Boston, born and raised. Reason I'm on here because it's talk about the bounce back. I spent 13 years and some change in prison as a juvenile. I want to say 2009, I went to prison. I was released March 2022. No, sorry, my bad. November 2022, I was released. Tumultuous time in the family, you know, some things that transpired, you know, losing my sister before I came home. From there, came home, trying to really just pick up the pieces of my family, trying to really stay out the way. Stumbled across a sales job and seeing like what things could be, just because regular people try to tell you, what you should do when you get home and how regular people should be coming home, you know, just convicted felons, I guess. Stumbled across a great opportunity. Shit literally changed my life.
Let's get into, before we bring it back, let's get into why sales and what are you selling?
Hey, I feel like sales because life is sales. Like, drug dealers, strippers, like anybody, you gotta sell yourself, you know? So, taught me the power of articulation, how to really articulate yourself. When I was locked up, I did a program called Toastmasters. I'm pretty sure you know about that. That takes some of the people who from stuttering to literally sounding like scholars, you know? So once I was able to do that program and just understand it's not about what you say, it's how you say it. And sometimes people actually can get across their point a little bit better when they speak with a better purpose and a better tone, and less always sounding aggressive. The biggest thing I learned in sales is just learning how to mirror somebody. You know, if they're loud, you be loud. If they're not, you got to mirror that imaging, just basically to let those people know that, you're there to service them. You're like them at the end of the day. Sales has taught me that I don't need to have my own boss. I can grind my way up to the top just by hard work,
Yeah.
And it's been a great opportunity, man. It's allowed me to take care of my family, put myself in positions I just more so just staying focused, man, because the devil's always at the corner.
So let's bring it back. You say you're from Boston. I mean, Boston's pretty big. What part of Boston
I'm from Boston, from Dorchester, Roxbury. But honestly, growing up where I was from, we started our own shit. I went to jail in 2007 because my friend died. He actually just, his memorial was May 22nd. Okay. His name's Terrence Jacobs. So, I was beefing or whatever. We was having a little, hood beef and stuff like that. Beefing with some dudes from the neighborhood I really won't even speak on, because that's besides the point. But my friend died. The truth is I was 16. The way that I was taught to mourn your friends was to go avenge their death by inflicting pain on that neighborhood. And that's the cycle that you still see repetitively happening today, because that's the only way people are taught to mourn their friends. Yet that person might got kids, that person's mother might be hooked up in the game, At the end of the day, not to say people ain't doing nothing for those families, loved ones, but majority ain't. Majority is just riding on shit. And I'm not, at the end of the day, at the end of the day, do you. At the end of the day, I can't tell a young boy or somebody how he feel to get his get back, But sometimes we just gotta take solace in different things, because that shit don't add up. It just evens out. And
best.
you feel me? I say, at best, it just evens out. A life for a life at the end of the day, So, but yeah, growing up, I really wasn't, honestly, we started a hood. I was from MOB, and at the end of the day, we wasn't from no projects. We wasn't from none of that. You know what I mean? We wasn't from none of that. We started our own shit.
Okay.
And that's how I liked it, because at the end of the day, we wasn't repping no block. Like, if you knew where we was from the mob.
Right.
Like, if they from the mob, they know where we from, you know? They know we ain't no hood. We liable to be over here. But we outside. Chez Vu's used to be the spot back in the day, you know?
I've heard, yeah.
A lot of bad things, a lot of beef transpired out of that skating rink, just because people got older, man, you know? People got older. People start getting jealous of relationships, girls, you know? Like, a lot of people dead, and a lot of people, girls are the reason for a lot of things, man, because
absolutely.
sometimes, man, if you think about some of the greatest dynasties throughout history, monarchies have crumbled over females. And it's, you know what I mean? And that's why they say you can't live with them, can't live without them at the end of the day, you know? So just learning a little bit, you know, once you got into the streets, it wasn't no more about the female. Now it's the principle. That's what most people will say. It's never about a female. It's about the principle. But
which really means ego.
Exactly my point, you know? So the biggest thing I learned how to do just being in prison is just humble yourself, you know what I mean? Because you could be the biggest, baddest, and fight your ass off, people still won't respect you.
Yeah.
They gonna jump this shit out you.
And then when you get out here, no one cares.
Nobody cares.
Yeah.
The 7 people that you beat up in the last 3 months don't mean nothing. Like, I used to really think of like, yo, I'm really running around trying to be the king of nowhere. I never reached that goal, but I'm just saying, like, you know, just being in jail, you know, looking for acceptance, getting gang involved. Like, literally all my tattoos is from prison, like, you know? So just, you know, just looking for acceptance, trying to feel like, you know, you 16, 17, you trying to, this is home for the next 15 plus years.
Yeah.
How do I make this shit as easy as possible? Whether it's being joining gangs, whether it's being like, you know, whether it's being just keeping yourself hanging with certain people. The biggest thing I realized is that, yo, you could do bad all by yourself.
Fact.
Literally, you don't need people to do bad. But at that age, you don't realize that. You won't be accepted.
Yeah,
you know you got 15 years minimum. You want to make sure that, like, people used to always tell me, yo, get your bullshit out the way early. Like, if you on some street shit coming upstate, get it out the way early. Yeah. Because as you get older, niggas is gonna get older and they ain't gonna be on that. They gonna be like, yeah, that's just old. Like, all right, cool. Like, all right, we fought. It is what it is. You know what I mean? So all my little DDU trips, like going back and forth to DDU, spending multiple years in the hole and stuff like that. Honestly, like, I think the most I did in the hole was like 20-something months, I think. Like, yeah, I think it was like 20-something months in DDU. We had got into some shit on N1, that's the jungle, and up in the Max and shit like that. But that's besides the point, the situation that happened.
Yeah.
But yeah, we ended up going to DDU a couple times and shit like that. And it happens, you know what I mean? Like, it's a part of prison. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? That just happens where they send you, you know? But the best thing that situation does over there is just give you time to think. Yeah. If it don't break you, you're gonna come out 10 times stronger.
Facts. Well, let's bring it back a little bit. What was going on in the home life? I know we had talked, you said you had lost a sister. What was it? How many siblings did you have? What was the parents in the home? Both parents?
So funny story is I literally just rode past my father for the first time in like 20 years. I ain't even stop. He was actually on methadone mile, like literally, like I was on my way here. I grew up in like a good household. Like, to be honest with you, like I like growing up elementary school, Boston Public Schools. When I was like in 6th grade, my mother had got me into the MECO program. I was in MECO, so I was going to school far out from like 6th to like almost like the 9th grade, 6th to the 10th grade, and then 6th to the 9th grade. Then I got kicked out. It was funny how I got kicked out, and I ended up meeting this dude. There was a guy named Jonathan Ogden, and he went to Lincoln Sudbury High School. And they were watching the news, and he had just stabbed a kid literally like 30-something times in Lincoln Sudbury, and that was a school right across from mine. And one of my schoolmates their parents had asked him, have you ever seen anybody in your school with a knife? He said, yes, me. No police had ever seen in school, no school police officer, anything, right? But because I was in such a small, like, white town, like I was already busting out here from Boston every day, it was an uphill battle, you know? So, so I ended up leaving, got kicked out, ended up going back into Boston Public Schools. The messed up thing about that was I was happy. Like, I was happy to be back in the hood every day. Yeah, like, you know what I mean?
People like you almost.
Yeah, not really subconsciously, like not realizing, understanding like the effect it would have years later. So now that 6 to 8 hours, I was getting out the hood, going to just try different things, you know, meeting different people, meeting different cultures. Now it's in the hood 24/7. So now it's like I didn't have that opportunity to get away from certain shit. So I just started to become more involved in the shit. You know, so as we get older, you know, you got your friends, you know, most gangs come from friendships.
Yeah. Thanks.
People don't like, you know, people think that people just get off the porch and wanting to murder, shoot, kill. Nah. Right. These gangs are families. Like, that's what people have to realize, you know what I mean? And over time, families end up fighting, and sometimes relationships sever, relationships tie, and that's when you start to see these gangs start to beef with each other, or whether it be inner circle, whether it be outer circle, you know? So my biggest thing was just realizing, like, yo, I chose this life.
Right.
I chose this life. This life didn't choose me. Like, I'm fortunate. My mother's not no crackhead.
Yeah.
Like, shout out to my mom. She just graduated like 2 weeks ago with her social a bachelor's degree from Bridgewater State, and she's going to Bridgewater State with her master's degree. And this is a lady who done lost a daughter, lost a son for damn near 14 years, buried alive, lost her first child before I even came into the world. So I'm like, yo, if this lady can still put a smile on, you feel what I'm saying? And go through all the adversity and still get her degree, I'm like, shit, what the fuck am I complaining about, you know?
Why is it important for you to say, like, oh, I chose this, I own this, instead of where a lot of people, they will sit and they'll play the victim?
Yo, because my mindset, like, the truth is, like, even when I was in jail, I used to always say I was in jail because somebody told on me. Yeah, somebody snitched on me.
Not because of what you did.
But somebody snitched on me, like, for the actions that happened that day. But the truth is, the life I was living led me to be put in that position.
Right.
So when you go back and break it down, like, yo, damn, like, yo, people got to understand righteousness is righteousness. Some of the shit we do out here ain't righteous.
Facts.
It's just justified in our heads because at the end of the day, like, I learned all realtors can't get along. Like, it just is what it is. Like, you feel me? Whether one's too tough, one don't really know how to communicate. The saying used to be hook first, ask questions later. We'll talk in the hole. Yeah. Like, if we arguing and I'm not a good arguer, like, if I'm not good at arguing, I'm punching you in the face, and we gonna figure it out in the hole. If you want to sign waivers after that, we can sign waivers after that. You know, we ain't trying to make nobody's bid worse than it is. Yeah. But the biggest thing I learned in prison is, like, yo, you feel like everything has to be handled with physical combat, and it takes the art of communication out. Yeah. And that's why people don't know how to communicate. Yeah. Like, I have no problem telling a person, like, look, bro, I don't want no issue with you. Not because of what you gonna do, but because what I got to lose. And if what I got to lose means is really important, that just means I'm gonna go harder to protect it. Right.
Especially if you're working towards something, it's like, well, I'm gonna do this, and it's just only gonna be detrimental to what I'm doing, instead of productive to what I'm doing. You know what I mean? Why? Because how people look at me, people that you might never see again.
That's a fact. Like, I realized that as I started to get older, like, I'm probably never gonna see these people a day in my life ever again, right? Why do I value what these people think? Just because we're on the same sovereign territory. We're literally on a frozen tundra. Like, I spent years in that max, from where seeing, like, riots happen to even when the COs getting shooken up on, you know, like, that shit just don't happen for nothing. Like, you know, the news will make it seem like it happens for something, but there's always a cause and effect to why people, you feel me? Like, for example, like, you know, 2016 when there was a riot in the max, that we only used to get to take showers certain times of the day because the pipes was messed up, just because where they get their water from in Fort Devens, it had lead or whatever it had in it, you know? Wow. So we couldn't even use the shower for every rec time. So now coming back from gym afternoon, you telling people we can't shower. Mind you, some of us is double bunked up. It's 3:30. We ain't coming out at least till 6:30, which is the next rec. So you want us to stew and sweat for the next 3.5 hours after y'all just let us go to the gym. Y'all could have let us know there wasn't going to even be no showers during that time period. Maybe people not went, you know? But then that led to a big thing, you know? But all the news sees, kids vandalize, or inmates vandalize unit, hundreds of thousands of dollars in damage. Like, it was just random. Facts. When it really wasn't like that, you know? All people were, like, peacefully asking, yo, can we get a shower? Yep. Like, we just want to wash our ass.
They don't tell you about the 20 times you asked that CO, please don't talk to my girl like that. Please don't talk to my mom like that on the visit, right? They don't tell you about that. They just say, in the visiting room, CO randomly attacked, right?
Yeah, man.
There's always a lead up to that. People don't crash out on that level.
There's always a cause and effect, man. Like, and that's what I noticed. You know, there's there's always a why. There's always a why, you know? And the thing about these systems, I don't call it the Department of Correction personally. I call it the Department of Penalization. Because to be truthful with you, like, all they do is penalize. Yeah. Like, literally, like I seen the, like, you know, just being up there watching how, you know, just like synthetic drugs started to just influence, get into the prison.
Yeah, infiltrate.
Infiltrate. That's the word I was trying to find. Infiltrate the prison and things of that nature. And the first thing they want to do is slap the visits. They want to make visits. Now you got to fill out a form. Now you got to do this. Now you got to do that. making it just 10 times harder for people's loved ones that actually come. Mind you, the drugs in prison is still running rampant. So what does that tell you? It's not coming from from inmates. People's loved ones ain't bringing it in, you know? All you're doing is severing ties to the community, making those people way more colder for when they return. My grandmother came to see me at least once a month for 14 years.
Salute.
Yo, once a month for 14 years, minimum once a month. Wow. Used to bring some of my girls up there, like literally, like tell her be on time. She gonna get left, you know?
How much does that mean to get visits and stuff, man?
It mean a lot, man. Like, yo, you'd be surprised. Like, yo, there'd be some people on those units, bro. They might not never get a visit. No love. Be some people on that unit that never get a summer package. They'll never get a winter package. Thank God the phone calls is free now. Yeah. Shout out to Liz Miranda and all the people on that bill, man, for real. Because I remember when that first bill first started really happening. And there's a guy who I met that really like kind of changed a lot of things for me, like just like my mind frame. His name's Derek Washington. Okay. He's from Springfield. He's locked up, like he's doing life. Well, he's actually from Cleveland, Ohio. Caught his case in Springfield. When this jail switched up, they brought it from making it just there's nothing, no rewards, you just go to your unit. What they did was diabolical, but it was kind of smart because they made a Supermax side and a max side. So now you have something to lose as well as something to gain. So the truth is, when you on that Supermax side, now you in Bobos, you ain't got no TV, you coming out at least 1 hour a day. You don't know when that 1 hour is because they start at 4 points of the unit every other day. So your 1 hour could be 8 in the morning and then the next day you coming out at 8 at night. You literally just did almost 36 hours in the cell before you even touch the phone again. So that's now, wild. And exactly, so what that did was it forced people to have conversations. Before blood would just have beef for the Crip because they was blood and Crip. Now when you go from the Supermax to the Max side, now you got canteen. Now you wearing regular sneakers again. Now you you getting visits, you out more. So before you throw all of that shit away, now in your head you're like, I'm not about to throw that away let me see what it really is first. Like, you know what I mean? Like if we could lock in, let's get it in. If we gotta go to the holding, so be it, you know? But it forces people to have a conversation. You know, like, yo, why you really got, like, yo, they were saying you were saying this, and then come to find out a person never even said that. But that's how the jail works. You feel me? Gossip.
Miscommunication.
Exactly, because people are too tough to even be like, yo, what's up? Like why you got an issue with me? They're just going to go off of what they heard, you know? So they did that, and now people value things now because you have something. When you give somebody something to work towards, even as a kid, you tell a kid, yo, if you be good for the next 5 days, I'm taking you to the play. Right. I'm taking you to the carnival. Damn sure that kid's going to be like this on his best behavior. So now you got people who, like, you tell them, look, man, you sit down over here for like 3 months, 4 months, just chill out, get through this. We're gonna send you to the green side. And now you're like, oh yeah, the green side. When it's really nothing. Right. It's really nothing. They just made it worse, so now you have something to actually gain. And that's what was diabolical in it.
And that little bit of gain was really just getting you back to regular status quo.
Exactly. Exactly.
Like you said, genius. You know what I mean?
It's diabolical in a sense when they actually did that. You know what I mean? And you think about the people who run these prisons. Like, people think like the prison system is broken. No, it's designed to work the way it's supposed to.
It's working how they designed it. Yeah.
Exactly my point. Like, people don't realize so. Just like police, and I had to start doing history, like where police actually formed from. Police wasn't in the world; they formed from slave patrol. And then once slavery was abolished, they still wanted to try to keep a threshold over society. Right. That's when police unions started being formed. So that's how deep it really gets. Yeah. So I used to have to actually just sit back and just really realize yo, you got it good. Even though you're in jail right now, you have a 13-inch flat screen TV. You got about $200 in food sitting right under your bed right now. You got brand new sneakers, tablet, watching movies. This is prison. Right. So, and then you think about what's going on in other countries, and it's just like, yo, you fortunate. Even to have an actual trial. Yeah. Like the right to an actual trial. Other countries, half of these people, man, even myself included, might have been hung already or...
I heard people say they would rather be in prison here than free where they're from.
Exactly. Like, there's just certain situations, like, I done seen people try to make up, like, I don't even know if it's true, but I done seen people try to make up rumors about dudes who caught bodies in prison just because they didn't want to go back to their country. And never know if it's true or not, right. You know what I mean? But it's just like, damn, that's how bad it is that a person would rather be here on a 23-1 lockdown or a 20 and 4, because that's what the max is. 20 and 4, and they break it down, you know, hour in the morning, hour and a half in the afternoon, hour and a half at night. And it seems like a lot, but it's really just 4 hours.
Yeah.
You know, so just learning different things like that, man, and just seeing how people operate.
Let's bring it back a little bit too. You said you saw your pops out there, Matt. Is that something that he struggled with since you were a kid? Addiction and stuff?
Yo, the thing is, the funny thing is my pops is like, like my pops is like a real OG. Like when I went to the joint, like some of his young boys who's now old heads, like, that's your pops. That's your pops, like automatically like looking out for me, you know, just certain dudes who I ended up meeting, like, I don't know if you know 4/5, Jimmy Evans is one of the good guys that I met, older dude from Boston. Orange Man, a couple other dudes from Boston and stuff like that. Salute to them. Hopefully they come home soon. But like real OGs from the town, like, yo, that's your pops. Like, yo, he's a real, like, you know, and then to see him in this shell of himself is just like, at the end of the day, man, like, you gotta realize, man, yesterday's gangster's probably today's addict. Yeah. Like, you know, like when you come from that era, like when coke and all that stuff was a do cool, like, in my era, it's mostly frowned upon. Like, you know, if you was young in my age, like if you did anything besides smoke weed, dudes was clowning you, you know, and then fiend. And then the pills started to come, and now everything is just like, you know, pill based. And now, you know, once things idolized in rap songs and things like that, you know, that's how it takes a wave.
When did you first start getting in trouble with the law?
Yo, honestly, I'm not gonna lie to you, man. Like, I started getting in trouble with the law, like, I want to say when I was like 13, 14. Okay. Yeah, like 13, 14. Me and my bro, Family Dollar, he be doing music and stuff. We had stole a car. We used to steal cars, like, but we used to steal cars when they was just like turned on and stuff like that. You know, stuff. We didn't really know how to hot wire.
Not breaking them.
We didn't know how to do that.
Keys is in it. Let's go.
If the keys is in it, we in it. You know.
Sure.
And
joyriding, really.
Exactly. We got into a high speed chase after that, man, and ended up, man, you know, ain't see each other for like 8 months after, you know, so that was like my first time.
So what was that like? Was that like an adrenaline rush getting in a high speed chase? Is that something that you never wanted to do again after?
I never wanted to do that. Like, honestly, like, that was just like, we just used to steal cars because we used to have a chop shop where we could basically, you know, get rid of the pieces, you know, but like growing up, I was never somebody, like, I wanted to hustle for the most part, you know, like.
So you had the financial incentive with the cars. You weren't just kind of just.
Yeah, we wasn't just, we wanted to hustle, you know, we wanted to make money, you know, like being 14, like being 13, you're at that age where you can't technically get a job, but you got to wait till the summer job to make $300 and fucking something for 2-3 months. Yep. At that age, clothes start getting expensive. You start getting bigger sizes. The thing that really made me start hustling was my mother told me no. I asked her for something, and she told me no. And then one of my guys, I seen him selling weed. He was a little bit older than me, and I'm like, yo, how much do you be selling for that? Like, you know. He's like, this much. I'm like, word? I'm like, I'm about to get me some weed, man, so that way I can try to keep some money in my pocket. I know I'm too young enough to work. Yeah. And then like a month later, I see him selling crack. And then I'm like, $20 for that? I'm like, nah, no way. $20 for that. So I'm like, yo, you got to get rich, you know? So I started mirroring him, you know? So then I'm like, all right, cool. I want to be a drug dealer. Now 14, 15 years old, thinking I'm hot shit, you know what I mean? Not driving around, but driving around in stolen cars, you know, selling drugs, walking around with a pocket full of phone numbers.
You going to school at this time too?
Yeah, I was doing all this in school. I was going to Madison Park. This is the crazy thing. Like, this is all I'm a freshman at Madison Park, high school right there on Ruggles Street. So this is all transpiring while I'm in the school, out of school. I ended up getting kicked out of school like the 3rd month in. Gotcha. They ended up sending me to Community Academy, which is like an alternative school for Boston kids. Ended up getting kicked out of there. So I was just like, all right, I guess we outside with it, you know? Yeah. So when I started selling drugs, like, you know, I just try to figure out, let me start really trying to how we get money, you know? So I used to sell crack, we used to sell weed. Me and my boy would literally walk to Grove Hall. That used to be our little area we would walk to, you know, because like I said, we wasn't from no set neighborhood, but we used to fuck with a lot of different neighborhoods that fucked with us. So that was basically a pass to eat in different neighborhoods, you know what I mean? Which was fire, you know, because at the end of the day, having a certain label on you, you can't go around certain places, whether it's because you got beef or especially to get money over there, you know? So it was kind of cool because we used to be able to trap different areas and stuff like that. But even then, I'm just like, man, like the street shit started to take hold now, you know? So then, like I said, when my boy died in 2007, it was just like, oh, fuck all that selling drug shit, man. Like, you know, like, I know for a fact, like, this is, if somebody, like, this is how I was taught. Yo, if somebody do something to you or your peoples, you got to ride out for that.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, like when I went to jail, I was on the bracelet. Like I was on the ankle monitor.
Damn.
But you ain't thinking about getting caught. That's for sure. You ain't never thinking about getting...
you think you're smarter than everybody else.
Exactly my point. You ain't exactly my point. You ain't never thinking about getting caught, man. And then when you do, and then shit really hit the fan, and you like, oh, what really like messed me up was like, I was 16, like, yo, so I used to always, like, I got locked up when I was 16, chilling in the hood. I used to always tell people, give me the hammer, give me the hammer, give me the hammer. Because I know that I'm going to DY.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to do 6 to 8 months.
And I feel like that's the thing, too. Like, older heads push that sometimes, too. It's like, yo, you'll be straight, too. You're
going to do 6 months. You're going to get order out. You're going to be straight little nigga. Like, you're going to be over there playing video games.
Yeah,
you feel
if
me?
I get caught, I'm going away forever.
Exactly.
Yeah, so it's like,
so
it's nothing
in
to
my
do.
head, I'm like, all right, cool. I got to do that. You feel me? So even, like, when we caught this case, like, when I caught my case that I went to jail for right now, I was 16. I was on the ankle monitor, and I didn't care. At the end of the day, it was just like, all right, this is what it is. This is how we taught to ride out. My friend been gone for about 2 years. Ain't really been no action. Let's get some action going, you know? I had came home. I ended up doing like 8 months in DY. I ended up doing like 8 months in DY from July 08 to like March 09. When I came home March 09, that's when I was like really feeling myself. Like I was 16. I had just did like a little DYS stretch, you know what I mean? Like I kind of, I was bearing the belt basically, So like all the dudes that I was fucking with, I was always the youngest, like literally. Like some of my closest friends, like right now, I'm 31 now. Some of my closest friends, they're pushing 40.
Dang, yo,
like
easy, bro. I'm up there to know. It's all good. No, it's all good.
But like it's just to say, like I was always the youngest. I was always the young, but I was always big. I was always a big hooter. I used to play sports. I was a very good sports athlete. From Pop Warner, I never really got a chance to really excel in high school because it was too late. It was too late now. So
streets had you by then.
Yeah, streets had me by then, honestly. But I wasn't mad at it. I was happy about it because that's the life I wanted to choose. Like I said, some people let this life gets chosen by this life. My dad was a crackhead, but I ain't never been in his custody.
Right.
The person who always took care of me made sure that I had whatever I needed.
What attracted you to that lifestyle? You said you chose it.
Yeah, absolutely. To be honest with you, like just seeing it, like the girls, the money, like just like like being at Chez Vu's and just seeing people out, the flyest dudes, just the drug dealers, or I used to live by growing up. I used to live by I used to live on Harvard Street by Greenwood Street, and I used to always walk to the store, and it used to be like some of the top players out there. You feel me? Like fly as hell, Beamers, Benzes, and all of that type of stuff. You don't realize the subconscious effect it has on you as a kid. You like, hold up, I want that. Yeah. Like I want that, man. Like how does that work? So. That's when it really started to get my mind frame in. And then when my boy, like I said, I seen some of my boys started doing that stuff. I'm like, that can provide the lifestyle that I seen so many years when I was younger. I literally started selling drugs because they didn't want to give me a job throughout the winter because I was too young, Yep. But like, real type shit, thing, so I was too young to get an actual job. Yeah. So it was a summertime gig, $300. I'm like, screw that, man. I'm going to pick up a pack. Yeah. And from there, it was just like the rest was history,
So talk about your whole experience waiting trial. At first you get arrested and you go to juvenile?
Yes.
How does that work?
So I caught my case May 13th, 2009. I didn't get indicted until July 2009. The only reason I was in custody was because I was committed to the Department of Youth Services. So with that being said, it was only my second violation after coming home from that 8 months. So it's so crazy how the system is designed, and now that I look back at it, I think about it, right? When you go to DYS, you have a pretrial, which is known as Charlestown or things like that on Harvard Street. Our law is similar to Nashua Street. From pretrial, you get assessed when you finally take time or you lose your trial. You go to assessment, which is now Walpole, when you wait for your classification. From there, you have a revocation hearing, which is basically another word for a classification hearing. They determine what type of fit you are as a juvenile. If you're doing 3 to 5 months, you're probably going to an open door program, which is equivalent to being in the minimum. If you're doing 5 to 8 months, you're going to something that's like a little bit behind the wall, but you still got a little bit of freedom.
CST,
Shirley, medium.
That's where I went.
Yeah. Exactly. So, and then if you're really on some BS, you go into BST. and you go into like say for different places in Taunton, Goss, you know, different places. Exactly.
I got shipped to Howland and
exactly my point. So it's crazy to think about the breakdown, how we're psychologically being prepared for that at that age. My mom used to work in DYS before I was ever like going to DYS, and she used to call Canterbury Street Baby Walpole. And I used to be like, what the hell is Baby Walpole? You know what I mean? And then I started to really just dissect the breakdown, and I was like, yo, no, like this is diabolical. Like you're literally preparing kids. You're preparing kids just by the way the system is set up for it to be norm if it ever approaches, you know? So when I ended up getting locked up, getting locked up, I went to the county, but I was already 3-4 months in from July 2009, I got indicted. I was still only 16 though. So they couldn't send me to Nashua Street. So on my birthday September 5th, shout out to the Virgos. But yeah, my birthday September 5th, and my birthday fell on a Saturday. They came and told me I had to get off the unit because I technically couldn't be around the juveniles no more. So for the next 48 hours, I had to stay in the cell because I was an adult, technically on a juvenile prison. So I came to Nashua Street, I want to say like September 7th, September 8th, like around that time, 2009. And I stayed there till about March 2011. The crazy thing is like pleading out to what I pled out to now, I would have never did it knowing what I know. But honestly, I pled guilty to 15 to 25 years. And it wasn't the fact that like I thought it was a good deal or anything like that. I just really wasn't educated. You'd be surprised how many black men or how many like people out here in the streets have no clue about the justice system when you don't realize you throw stones at the prison every day. Like, you got to learn that stuff, you know, but most people don't learn till they either got life trying to get an appeal or they facing some crazy time. And now you have your back against the wall. You have no choice but to learn. I encourage all people, if you're in the streets, man, don't just hire a lawyer. Like, understand your rights, you know, and I think that's the one thing where social media has helped. It's helped like this era of the street dude just be a little bit more savvy, be a little bit more conscious, obviously a little bit more hot because social cameras and everything like that.
Google helps too. Before we had dictionaries and all sorts of encyclopedias.
Absolutely,
that was it.
Like just, you know, so just now even platforms like this, like I was telling you earlier on the phone, like I've been wanting to come on this platform for a minute, you know, it's all about timing at the end of the day. Facts. But like I told you, like I said, like one of the greatest things I listen to Muhammad Ali, I watch him a lot, some of his documentaries and everything. You don't make yourself the people's champ. The people make you the people's champ. You know what I mean? And you think about Muhammad Ali and his life, he was at one point the most hated person in the world. The most hated person in the world. Like a draft dodger. Like most of these people probably watching this won't even know what that is. Right. But that's how deep it got. And then to see his life end how it did and him to be almost like an icon, we're so far removed from that we don't remember that time. Like the truth is, even now, like I feel like some of my young counterparts, even me, like being young and African American, you don't realize we're 3-4 generations removed from that effed up time of what they think Boston, the reason why Boston has a messed up name. We're 3-4 generations removed from that, so it didn't really hit us. It didn't really hit us. So that's why we take it for granted, because we ain't never had to go through that. But then you realize you're like, yo, man, like your people's like did a lot to get over, like, you know what I mean? And that's why I noticed like some of the people who come from other countries, they work harder than the people who born here. Because once you born with that citizen on you, it's a lot that comes with that.
Right. Like, and one thing about freedom, I feel like it's one of those things you don't appreciate it till you don't got it. Or if you're from one of these countries who don't got it, or like us, you got to get locked up to really appreciate your freedom. At any point did you feel like taking that to trial? When did you plead out, like right before the trial? What was that process?
So I was always going to trial. Different things started to like stack against me. We just started looking like, all right, you know you guilty, bro. Like, like you know you guilty, bro. Like, don't even sit here and try to trip. My mom came and visited me. She came and visited me on a Sunday, but before she came and visited me, the power of faith is real and power of God is real. My lawyer, his name was J.W. Carney.
Okay.
And I don't know if you ever heard of him, whatever, but my under lawyer, the lawyer who basically worked on all the paperwork like type aspect, happened to be my old football coach.
Okay.
And when I found out that I had a lawyer that actually, on my case, that actually knew me, like not just the case, my mom was just like, yo, it's a sign from God. You know what I mean? So When he came to me, like Jay didn't even come and tell me what the deal was because he was busy dealing with other things. So when he came and told me what the deal was, he's like, listen, just talk it over with your mom, you know. It's the first deal on the table. I know it sounds crazy, you know, but just think about this and think about that. So my mom came to see me. I never forget it. She was like, so when you copping out? I was like, just like that?
Right.
So I was just like, she's like, look, the truth is, like, you my son. Like, I'm going to accept you regardless. Yeah. The truth is, though, you got to start thinking smart. She's like, by the time you start wrapping up this bid or you on your way to coming home, there's going to be 3, 4, 5 people who's probably doing an asshole full of more time and they're going to start this bid with you and then they're going to leave. And then when you're leaving, they're going to be still there. And she was not wrong at all. Like, I literally watch people throw stones at the prison. Like, the biggest thing I realize is that, most people leave their brains on the bed. So when they come back, they're already back in that mode. Wow. Like, people leave their brains in the, deep. Like, the real truth is you got to start preparing to go home the moment you get sentenced. I didn't do that, don't get me wrong, but that's, if I could, I would have.
At what point do you switch from the guy that's going to DDU to now, like, let me kind of change my thinking, change my ways? When does that happen? Are you up to max when that happens?
I was in the max. I was in the max, and to be honest with you, like, I started, like, getting money in prison. Like, I caught a case. I caught a case selling Suboxone, just talking hot on the phone, just thinking that you're invincible type shit, They ended up kicking my door in. They couldn't get nothing because, the old days, we keep the door jammer right there, man. They ain't getting in that, So they was mad they couldn't get in or whatever. But long story short, I ended up catching a case. I ended up, like, conspiracy to introduce. I went to jail in 2009. My sister, her name's Lala, but she just graduated from college just now, too. Shout out to her. She was, like, 9 or 8 when I went to prison. So when I caught my case, I received a letter through the mail. And it was my sister. She was just like, like, is it true you just got caught with drugs? Like, what the hell's going on? Like, you know what I mean? So this is like, now I got to explain myself to somebody who idolizes me. And she's like, like, I know you probably ain't coming home like next year, but can you at least like try to make it for my graduation? And I was just like, damn. So at that point, the wheels started turning. I was still like, I was going right back to the unit to go try to get some money. Right. Like, at the end, at that time, like, but that's when the wheels started turning. Right. The wheels started turning at that point. Then, just when COVID happened, that was probably like a blessing, seriously, man, because like being in the max, always being gang labeled, you stuck on one unit. Who you fuck with is literally who you fuck with just because they on that unit. And that's what it is. So now you go to gym with that unit, you go to library with that unit, you go to chow with that unit if you a chow hall block. Even if you ain't that's if you ain't a chow hall block. downstairs they keep us, separated, or keep us locked in or whatever. So when they did that, and I started to be like, damn, like this is really messed up. So when I started to be like, when I came down there, I'm like, you know what? I don't want to be a part of like all this other BS no more. I'm like, I gotta get the fuck out of here. The biggest thing is when you start this bid with your friends and they got their little 5s to 7s and they little 3 to 5s, then you look up, you're like, it's a whole new group of niggas, like, and then you get to the point you gotta start asking these dudes like, who's your father?
Right. like, That's how it is. Yeah.
Like, what's your pop's name? Like,
I always said that when I first went in and started running it in county to these older dudes who did time with my dad. I was always like, I respect you, but I'm like, I don't ever want to be that dude who's 40-something years old and see somebody come in. I'm like, your name's what? It's blah, blah, blah. You relate? Yeah, that's my dad. I just never wanted to be that dude.
Yeah, like
man,
that shit was that was real. Like you start coming in, I'm like, I start seeing kids with 99s on their ID and 2000. I'm just like, damn, they still doing the same effed up thing. So now some of the real OGs from the city, they damn near 50, 60. They don't want to keep dealing with this. Yeah. And the people who are supposed to be up to that next generation of 30 or 40 years old, that like people like us, we still stuck in that mind frame, like we on that bullshit. So now the next generation, they don't get nothing. They don't get no tutelage. Right. They don't get no jewels. They get a hammer and a pack and tell them, look, this is what it is. Nope. this is what we doing up here, you know? And you lose that older guy mentality because they've been down 30, 40 years now. They don't want to keep talking.
Yeah.
They try and go home. Just like the rest of us. You know, they have a responsibility just because they there. When you run into some of those dudes who've been down for just like, I don't know if you know Mikey Marple? You ever heard that name?
That name sounds
like,
familiar.
Older white dude, been down decades. Like, you know, like guys like Jeff Bly. Like, you know what I mean? Like, real solid dudes, man, that ain't never, like, I honestly, truly believe if they got the chance to go home, they do way more good because of what they lost. And it's as simple as that. When you do 3 to 5s, 2 to 3s, it's like doing 6 to 8 months in DY. You come home, you feeling yourself. I just did my little bid, and we back to it.
That's it.
When you start talking 7, 10 or more, like, honestly, like, I really didn't start really thinking about my life till I was like, probably like year 10, year 11.
What point do you get out of the max?
2021, I left the max. 2021, I left the max. And the reason I got up out the max was simple. They broke those units down. Now, when you go from the gray side to the green side, one side is, now when you go from the Supermax to the max, the max side is a combination of what used to be the old gray and the green side. So one side of the tier be old gray siders and the other side of the tier be the old green siders. And just how they color code stuff. They'll color code stuff just by, like, you know, Bloods, Crips, and things of that nature.
Now, was classification there at that point? Or
yeah, so you had to get classed from the max side to the medium. When I first seen classification, I had like 14 points after being ticket free for like almost like 6 months. But the cutoff is 11. So I'm still, you know, so I was, instead of like bugging, usually I'd be tweaking, like probably do something to mess it up even more. I'm like, you know what? Let me just fall back. I got like another 2-3 months left up to that ticket drops. I'm gonna just put in for a reclass. But the best thing that happened was programs started coming to the unit. So now, like, I used to get into mad bullshit, whether it be fighting over gangs, fighting because of this, fighting because I owe somebody money, or like it's prison shit. You feel what I'm saying? Like, whatever happens, people think you gotta settle it with a fight. When that happened, now the unit, nobody's going to programs. Everything's coming to your cell. It's very easy to earn good time now.
Nice.
All you gotta do is fill out some packets. But what I realized is that when I was able to take out the instructor from the curriculum of like programs like criminal thinking and substance abuse, and those are the programs, you know, the curriculum's not bad. It's you combining the curriculum with the person teaching it to you. And then before you can even give it a chance, you're like, man, what the fuck you know? You ain't never been through shit. You literally reading this shit from a textbook. Now, if you want to actually do the work, you can pay somebody to do it. You know somebody's always going to do it. But I'm like, fuck it, let me do it. You feel what I'm saying? So actually reading this shit, I'm like, damn, this shit, it ain't a bunch of bullshit. You know, this is, damn, they talking about scenarios that really happen. So then you start to see things and you're like, yo, I remember reading about this type of situation. This is literally happening. We joke about it. Like people that be on the like in the class, that's a trigger. He triggered you, like, you know what I mean? Like, but it's real shit.
Yeah, because in 5 years from there when they're on the streets, they know, oh, that's it sinks in. Wow.
It sinks in, exactly my point. So I was able to start doing programs. When programs started happening, I started advocating for myself more. The one thing I learned in prison is the pen is mightier than the sword. Like when I learned the art of writing a grievance.
This is more intimidating than violence sometimes.
Exactly. People don't know how to deal with me nowadays because they think I'm supposed to be doing a certain thing based off, like, you know, how my life has transpired or what's happened to me. And then they see me and I done had real stone cold gangsters, like real stone cold killers, like hit me up in my DM like, yo, bro, I'm really proud. Like, I wish I could do that. Like, I really wish I could do that. You know what I mean? And that's like all the validation I need, bro, because at the end of the day, like the squares is winning. Like at the end of the day, like don't nobody want to be in jail. Don't nobody want to be aggravating some female, you feel me, or stressed out over some female that you know damn well ain't gonna be there a year from now.
Facts.
You know what I mean? You want to be out here living your life. The biggest thing I'm happy about is I can take care of me. Like my grandmother don't work right now. With that, she's still good. Like, you know, like I after all those years, she could call me for money. My sister, she could call me for money. My mother, she could call me for money. Like, the greatest thing about my job is I found a way out the trap. Like, honestly, like I always knew I was like, I never think I'm greater than anybody. I don't think I'm better than nobody. But the truth is, I think I'm better than my situation. I'm better than my circumstances. Like, that's the God's honest truth. And all motherfuckers got to do is sometimes just sit down and think, like, what can they do to try to better themselves? The truth is, like, we come from situations and we go back and go right back to those situations.
Insanity.
Like, literally the definition. Like, you went to jail, you was living with a shorty and you end up beating her up or something happened like that, and then, or whatever, and then 6 years later, you back in the same position. I'm gonna tell everybody right now, like, there's resources out there that don't just apply for single baby mothers. Like, I came home November 2022. By February, I had an apartment.
That's dope.
By the end of February, I had a car. Like, you know,
Big
this
things.
is 90 days.
So talk about, how do you get out? What happens? You end up wrapping up? Parole?
Nah, so I seen parole in September of 2022. I had the answer for everything. Like, all the bullshit. Like, when I mean, like, this shit was, like, that big, their exact words is, yo, when you go to pre-parole, the lady's like, oh, look, man, I don't know if you're going to get it. You know, like, yo, just prepare for the worst. Just hope for the best, expect for the worst.
Yeah.
Prison is so diabolical in the state system because now they don't even want to give people, they don't even want to send people to programs. They still want to keep making money off you, so they'll parole you to a minimum. That's not parole.
That's just prison still.
Literally, there are still COs who could be transferred down there who you might have had issues with 6 months prior, and they make your life a living hell because here's the thing. When they write that ticket, you going back across the world, whether you're guilty or not.
Yeah.
And until you figure out the disposition of that ticket, you stay in there.
Damn, is that what happened to you? You got paroled to a minimum?
No.
Okay.
So listen. So this is the norm. Most people that you'll see, I don't know if they switched it up now, but 2021, 2022, like they was trying to send people to minimums and then tell them to do 6 months out of minimum security, and then, oh, we'll parole you to a halfway house. But they're telling people parole to a minimum.
Wow.
That's not parole.
Not at all.
So then I started telling people, like, I'm not going to a parole, bro. Like, I'm not going to a minimum. I'm going to a program. People's like, yo, bro, like, just don't get your hopes up. Don't get your hopes up. At that time, I ended up getting in college. I ended up getting in the Mount Wachusett program. This lady named Tressa, shout out to her, man. She's still on the front line. A lot of the Tufts program gets a lot of shine, but the Mount Wachusett program is in the prisons as well.
That's the one I did when I was in Concord in 09 for a little bit.
You feel me? So the Mount Wachusett program is very good as well, you know, so shout out to them. I was able to get into that college program, and I'm still currently in college right now. You know, I'm just taking my time because life be lifing.
Facts.
You know, so I ain't trying to graduate with an 8, with a 4.0. I'm just trying to walk across the stage. At the end of the day, it's something it's a fulfillment I made to my mom, you know, so.
Was that the reason they paroled you too?
Yeah, so here's how it worked. I got into college. I went in the front of the parole board, and I answered for everything. You know what I mean? All my situations and everything like that. And I just basically told them, like, yo, the truth is, like, what I thought I was doing was the right thing. I now know that's not how you mourn your friends. Like, that's the God's honest truth. And it's one thing if you're trying to sell the parole board. I wasn't trying to sell the parole board because now 2 years later they see it was true. Like, you know, so people always think they're being sold, even in sales.
Yeah.
People don't like to be sold. So now, but they got to take a chance on you for you to feel like they're not sold, you know? And I was just happy by the grace of God. Like, I ended up with 3 women on the parole board. And for what I was told, it had just switched. 3 women that, you know, honestly, I think it's easier. I'm like, 3 women? Shit, I've been talking to girls my whole life. I'm like, I can do this, you know? Like, it'd be different staring at a bald-head white guy who looks like the system, you know? So when that situation happened, I just basically told him, like, listen, man, like, if this opportunity, I don't think it makes sense for me to go to a minimum. There's no college program in the minimum. What is the point of putting my education on hold because you want to give me another 6 months in prison? Like, I didn't go to a minimum because I didn't fit the requirement. It's as simple as that. If I had minimum points at that time, but I didn't fit the requirement based off my case. So because I could have been in the minimum already, don't try to send me there now. Like, you know what I mean? So I was looking for programs. I was looking for halfway houses that would accept me. I'm like, I got this program right here. I got this program right here. I got this program right here. Like, doing my own due diligence, you know? Letting them know what my plan was. I went in there with the whole local JATC booklet, thinking I'm gonna go home and be an electrician and things of that nature, you know, just like letting them know what my plans was, you know, still finish school and things of that. And it didn't work out like that. They gave me parole. And they told me I could go home. And I was like, word, that shit worked?
Wow. Yep.
I was like, that shit really worked, huh? So then I was just like, all right, cool, you know, so now the real work begins. Like, now the real grind begins. Like, now it's going from nobody's taking care of you no more. There ain't no more $75 a week on your books, $50 on the phone. Shit's about to get real. Like, and that's the biggest thing. I just have to I used to have to keep telling myself, but I knew I had a big support system. I'm like, yo, I got a big support system. I got a big family. I know they're going to help me. You know, they're going to help me. Maybe not financially like that, but they're going to help me, you know? And I'm so amped to be coming home because I got a great family. Like, the reason the reason I've always been how I've been is simple. The people that raised me. Yeah. Like,
it always goes back to
exactly. Like, some people don't got no education. Some people don't have none of that, no manners. Some people don't have none of it because they was never raised with that. If you, like, you know, if your mom's a drug addict or whatever, like, all they care about is, you know.
And then those people who never have that, they have kids and they raise kids too. So it perpetuates.
And the cycle continues. And it was so crazy because my mom, like, just seeing her, like, my mother ain't never been rich. She ain't never been rich, you know what I mean? So now coming home, I had to pick up the pieces because now I seen Parole in October. I was supposed to go home October 7th, but due to waiting for a bed, you know how that goes, waiting for beds at programs, I didn't go home until like November 22nd. No, October 23rd, my sister Jasmine Burrell, they call her Snow and stuff like that, like for the people that know her and shit, she got murdered literally 3 weeks before I went to the crib. And I was just like, damn, nigga, like, this shit's crazy. Like, yo, like, damn, like, yo, and the way I found out, I was taking a shit. I swear to God.
Wow.
Like, yo, whenever somebody knocks on your door and is like, yo, call home. Yeah. You know, like, something's up. And that's the last thing I expected to hear my sister, you know? Like, I knew my sister used to be turned and stuff like that. Like, one thing about that girl, she always lived life on her terms, you know? And when it happened, I was just like, damn. And the first thing I thought about was, like, revenge. But then as quick as that shit went out my head, it was just like, I mean, as quick as that shit came in my head, I was like, nigga, you just did 14 years. Like, nigga, you even like, you feel me? So then they didn't even let me go to the funeral because they didn't know what type of mind state I was in.
And you already had parole at the time.
I already was granted parole.
Damn,
I was literally already granted parole. It was a question if they was even going to give me parole now. Like, I had to go through about 4 mental health evaluations, literally just to be, all right, cool, keep us parole. Like 4 of them, like more than an hour, like trying to get out of these shits. Yeah. And they just keep asking me the same repetitive questions. So the situation kind of happened like that. And I'm just like, yo, listen, I'm good. It's fucked up what happened, but I gotta go home and still pick up the pieces. Like, I got a nephew who's 13 years old who just helped me donate some of those clothes today. We just donated, I just donated some clothes to Goodwill. And I told him, like, kid, you gotta get some of this stuff up out of here, man. Like, you know, the stuff that came from your mom, you know, keep it. But we got to start, you know, paying it forward, you know, because there's people out there who don't got stuff. So now, like, what I try to do now is just make sure that I do things that actually mean something. Like, you know, whether it's taking my grandmother out or whether it's, you know, looking out for my moms or whether it's, you know, just trying to be a resource for some of my friends who might not have it. Like, who might not know how to get an apartment or who might only think, like, damn, who might not even know they could do this job. That's dope. Type shit, you know. I looked at my year to date today, and I was like, not even year to date, 6 months to date, like my income. I was like, damn, I done made over damn near 100,000 in 6 months. And I'm just like, damn, kind of put it in perspective because it's like, it's not about how much money you make, it's about how much you keep. What I realized too is just like being in prison, they'll teach you how to stay sober, not be violent. They ain't gonna teach you how to make your money work for you. They ain't gonna teach you what credit actually is out here. Like, you can't do shit even with 30,000 in cash. Like, you know, you can do stuff with cash, but credit runs the world. Like, I'm dealing with a situation right now where I had to basically, you know, had to go fix my credit because where I'm staying at, they like, listen, man, you got to get that shit right. And my credit, and I didn't have no credit when I came home because I was 16. And what I found out is having no credit is sometimes worse than bad credit. So now I had to basically like establish who I am because I was basically a ghost. But it started to work out, you know, I started to fix my credit, and that's how I was able to start to, like, you know, just build certain things, you know, and then, you know, you go through life. Life happens, you know, so you start to learn about different things, what bills is, what it means to be on time with your bills, and then the auto pay, that shit sucks.
Yeah, especially when Citizen switches from Visa to MasterCard. I gotta change it. They send me a new card. Exactly. I had to change everything.
You know when you right before pay the last day before your paycheck come out and your $20 on Apple Pay gets auto paid, and then you go to Dunkin' Donuts and you ain't even got money for coffee.
Yeah, that's what happened to me. Luckily I had cash, but it's like I look at it as like, yeah, you know what? I don't got to go in and change all my auto pays. I get to, because I would have died for this opportunity to. You know what I mean? When you think about your problems when you're sitting in prison and you're really complaining about, oh, I gotta change all my auto pays.
Absolutely.
That's nothing.
Like people
be blessed to have that as your issue.
You're absolutely right. And that's why I just realized like I'm really just fortunate, man. Like if I could tell like people like, yo, no bullshit, like Open Sky Services, that's a great program. Like, you know, like there's funding out the ASS for people such as us, such as myself. The messed up thing is just because I went to prison, I have a disposable of resources at my hand. And there's people who did the right thing for the first 21 to 23 years of their life and graduate college with a shitload of debt. Yeah. Like I literally know a lawyer that went to school to be a dentist. Wow. And now, exactly my point. So it's like schooling is great. I go to school simply because I go for free through the Pell Grant. If I had to pay for school, I would not be going.
How do you get to the point where you get the job you have now? Is that your first job? Did you try other things? Talk about that.
So November I came home. I was doing an overnight gig. I had got my first overnight job. I was working for this place called Unified Global Packaging. Being fresh home, feeling like I had all the energy in the world, I thought I could stay up all day and still work overnight. After about the third or fourth day, when you kind of your body starts to like get adjusted, I started coming into work for like super tired. I was only making about $16, $17 an hour. But I was like, word, $600 a week. But overtime, that's valid. Like, you know, I'm getting money, you know?
Absolutely, compared to where you just came from.
Exactly, you know, making $1 a day or $1.50 a day in the kitchen or something like that, you know? So how I got fired from the job. So the funny thing was the manager at that job was literally one of my housemates in the program. Oh, okay. So he's like, I didn't really respect him like that because I'm like, dude, you live in the same program as me. At the end of the day, like, you know, you're a manager here, but I fell asleep on break in the bathroom. So he came to me in the house the next day. He was like, just do me a favor, man. If you're gonna sleep in the bathroom, I'm trying not to snore so loud. I was like, what?
I got sleep apnea, bro.
I was like, you heard that? He's like, yeah, man. And then the next day I got the can. So I had this job. So my boss, who is my boss right now, we used to work for this smaller solar company. It was like, again, right down the street, but it had like a base paycheck, $600-700 a week. I'm like, oh, this might be decent, you know? So I had no interview skills. I had none of that, like nothing, like literally. I goes into the interview. By the grace of God, my boss is like 27 from Newark, like been from the hood, like been to prison and stuff like that, you know, out here in Massachusetts. And him and my other boss, shout out to Ben and Eve, man. Y'all know who y'all are. But he's like, the first thing I tell him is like, yeah, my name's such and such. Yo, what's the word, bro? Yeah, I just came home from the joint, running to like 14. He's like, whoa.
In the interview, you said this?
Yeah, but I kind of felt his body. I didn't even know he was the boss. Okay. Like,
I got you.
Like, you feel what I'm saying? Like he looked like he's younger than me, you know? So his first thing he said was like, yo, you gonna be cool with my brother. My brother, like, when my brother get back from Jersey, you gonna be straight. And then I met his brother. Shout out to Hottie, my boy Hottie Mac. I met his bro. He kind of taught me the art of like door knocking. I'm like, we about to knock on doors? Like, this is what we about to do? So I'm like, all right, fuck it. I guess we about to knock on doors. But I liked it because it gave me a flexible schedule. I didn't have to wake up till 12 o'clock, basically be at work at 12 o'clock, stay till like 6 or 7. I'm like, I'm good at having conversation. I'm good at talking to people. I've never been like stupid. I've always been educated. I've always knew how to come across, and I've always knew how to, like, the art of finesse. The one thing I learned in prison, when you a flight risk, people ain't gonna fuck with you. Like, if you always known for going back and forth to the hole, if you always known for being a hothead, the people who got what you want, whether it be the drugs, whether it be this,
they like this couple squeezed cheese,
like they gonna put you on a limit because they know like this nigga liable to go to the hole. Like, you feel me? Like, man, your limit's $10, nigga. Like, after that, bro, I can afford to lose that, you know. So I started to learn, like, yo, you get more out of people when you learn how to talk. When you learn how to when people feel like comfortable, when people feel comfortable to like actually do business with you because they feel like, all right, cool, I can do business with this person. The biggest thing I learned in prison is your word. I used to think that just because I could fight, then nothing else mattered. And then I looked, I'm like, yo, no bullshit. And a dude was told me, he's like, I ain't gonna lie, bro, like, I'd rather be known as a real nigga that can't fight than a clown with some hands. And I was like, word, no bullshit. Like, that's crazy. Like, I know some real motherfuckers that can't fight their way out of a wet paper bag.
But to you, that was foreign, that thought at the time. You need people to open your eyes up like that sometimes.
I'm like, damn, so just because I'm young, strong, like whip ass, like that shit don't mean shit. Like people still laughing at you. Like, you know what I mean? I'm like, so you know what, bro? Like, let's switch it up. Like, let's show them that you do got a brain. Let's show them that, you know what I mean? So now when I'm doing this job, I knock on doors where I see COs. Like literally working this job. Like I've been blessed because I can work in 25 states, literally. Like I was in December. In December, I remember I showed you the pictures. I was working in Texas.
Yeah.
Me, out there knocking, I made 10 grand in 12 days. Dope. People don't realize how much, like, I sell solar. Like literally, like all my friends, you ask anybody, that nigga don't shut the fuck up about that shit. Why would I, bro? Like,
so what about these young guys that out there on the street say they're hustling, selling drugs? You think that those skills that they have is transferable to something like that?
Absolutely, because at the end of the day, the only difference is in the drug game, most of the people want what you got, but they don't know who you are. You got to go out there and get it. Like when I used to be trapping in Grove Hall, nobody knew I had drugs. I used to have to go and tell people, give them the head nod. You know, back in the day, yo, you straight? Yo, you straight? Like, you know, give them the head nod, you know, and then they start to be like, oh yeah, I might got what you need. So now it transcends into that door knocking. The biggest thing I can say is this, right? I'll knock on 200 doors. I'll get 199 no's. One yes will make you flipping that quarter brick look like nothing.
That's all you need.
Like literally. And then it becomes addicting because now in my industry, you want to start stacking installs on top of each other. Like on top of each other. Like I'm literally looking at my check like ain't no fucking way in hell I just made $15,000 this week.
Wow. Like
how the fuck? And then when I try to break it down to people to come work in my industry, the words I get is I'm antisocial or I'm this or I'm not good at talking to people. It's not really the case. I just literally learned the craft. It's a training to it. There's a method to it. So I used to try to get people to like, yo, come work for this shit. Come work for this shit. I'm telling you. So then after a while, I started working my way up, started realizing that other companies have different values. And now I'm able to work for the top company in the nation. Where it's like, it's crazy. I'm my own boss. I make my own schedule. I'm literally here right now because I can be, you know, like.
Did you ever have doubts about it in the beginning? Like, maybe this ain't for me? And how were you able to talk yourself out of it?
That shit was like, man.
Took to it right away?
I talk a lot. Like, literally, at Christmas, my people's like, yo, shut the fuck up about that shit. Like,
maybe I could get my mom to sell solar.
I be trying to put solar on. I be trying to put solar panels on everybody's crib because no bullshit. People have no idea how much fucking expensive electricity is. Yeah. So now I look at it as a gateway because honestly, in my industry, a lot of the people look like you. A lot of the people look like you. So I try to get the people who look like me to be like, yo, let's come get some of this money. So now some of my friends through social media, they hitting me up like, yo, I'm about to start working. Because this is the type of job where anybody can get it. Mostly anybody can get it because hard work is really going to get you paid.
Yeah. And talk about that feeling, though, to have somebody like that telling you that, yo, about to start working. Does that feel good that you helped them, man?
Yeah, because I try to recruit a lot of people. The truth is I don't do shit for shit. Like every person I recruit, I earn equity. Like so many people might not know what equity is. Like, but becoming like a 3-star rep, you gotta sell. You gotta be able to get referrals. You gotta be able to actually recruit because that's the only way you grow the business. And because of that, you get rewarded. Like, you know, like when I first started this industry, I was like a rookie, and you had to reach a certain amount of sales in a certain number. I think it was like 8 in like 60 days. You get 1 ticket to Mexico, a combine or a cruise. 12 in 60 days, you get 2 tickets. I did like 20 sales, 19, 18 sales in like 60 days. Damn. Fucked up thing is I can't even leave the country.
That's crazy. Hey, you did it though.
But I'm gonna give it to my grandmother though. So if you heard it here, you heard it first. So that way she know I'm gonna stand on it. Yeah. But in December, it's either gonna be a cruise to the Bahamas or a trip to Mexico. But she probably gonna go to Mexico. She probably might do the cruise. But it's 2 tickets that I really can't touch. I'm just gonna be like, you know what? Here, that's you. That's you. So when it happens in December, she gonna be able to just go on a cruise that I earned. You know what I mean? So yeah, I ain't pay for them, but I pay for them through hard work. So I just learned like, yo, like in this industry, hard work is rewarded. Absolutely. Like I got the opportunity to work in Texas just because of what I was doing here in Massachusetts. Awesome. And I was just like, damn, like going to awards, like I want a fucking award.
Is there anything that you might have picked up in prison that you were able to kind of utilize in your sales?
Learning how to talk to people. it's not, like I said, it's not about what you say, it's how you say it. Like, hey, yo, like, if you say something to me, right, and I ain't like how you said it, I'm like, yo, what the fuck you just say? I'm like, yo, what the fuck you just say? First, yo, bro, what the fuck you just say?
Right.
Like, what the fuck was that? Like, you know what I mean? Like, pitch, tone, everything.
Yeah.
Like, yo, tonality, like, posture, everything. Like, even when I'm at doors now speaking to homeowners, like, it's really a mental, it's a mental art. It's a mental art. Like, I know some people who are 5'5", 5'6", who got about 90 people following them. Literally, just because they understand like the mental art. There's a mental art of like just like getting people to like follow what you do. Like, I'll try to explain something to a homeowner and literally subconsciously, like, to use in like a metaphor, I'll be taking them, I'll walk with them around the block. And by the time we get back to their house, they're like, oh shit, we just back here now. And they're like, oh, now I see what you're talking about. The biggest thing I feel like for me, like, I feel like life was like this. You ask me what I see right there when I look at that. And I'll be like, yo, I see the statue. I see a man on a horse. But you'd be like, yo, if you really look at it, you see the Statue of Liberty holding a pistol. And then I'm like, oh shit, I see it. Like, I feel like I was looking at a picture for so long, but I never actually seen what the actual picture represented. Right. And then that's when that light clicked on. I'm just like, yo, fuck this shit. I'm like, yo, bro, like, this street shit is whack, bro. Like, I'm like literally sitting in prison right now, in a cell, no soap to wash my ass, bro. Like, this is fucked up. Like,
let's talk about that. What's the worst part about prison? Is it like having to lose a family member and then having to deal with that?
Honestly, like, for real, man, like, losing a family, that was the worst shit. I ain't never cried in prison. That was the first time I ever cried in prison out of 13 years. No bullshit. And it wasn't even something I could control. That shit just happened. Like, literally just happened. Like, I couldn't control it, you know what I mean? But, like, besides that, just, like, the worst thing is just, like, you know, like, you gotta realize, man, like, who's really for you, man? Like, who's actually for you? Because in prison, anybody can be who they want to be. Yeah. A person could walk through that door right now and say they was Big Meech's plug. Yeah. And you have no way to, like,
verify. Yeah.
Exactly. You can be who you want to be in there. You can go to canteen every week in there and be somebody but been a methadone mild fiend when you was home. You just got people that take care of you. They rather take care of you in jail than take care of you on the street. So the biggest thing I just learned was just like, yo, just be humble. Yo, sometimes less is more. Yeah. Less is definitely a lot more, you know, just like, and stand on what you say. Like, you know, say what you mean what you say. Like, being out here now, like, a lot of people sometimes are very direct because people will be like, hey, you know what I mean? No, I don't know what you mean.
I know what you said.
I know what you said, but please explain to me what you mean. Like, you know, because I don't never want to get anything construed or anything like that, you know, because the biggest thing is if it's a conversation that needs to be had, we can have a conversation. I'm never going to want to fight somebody. If that's what I used to be in prison, that's how I was in prison too. Like, I don't want to fight, but if you want me to, if you want to take it there, I'll give you what you want. Because I probably know I'm going to come out victorious. But that was after I was like older. That's after I was older. Like, look, bro, fighting, that shit's whack, bro. Like, I'm not trying to go to the box, bro. Like, like, yo, bro, it's real shit, bro. Like, if it's the issue, bro, we could lock in, bro. If not, bro, like, miss me with that shit, man, you know? And then I just really had to, like, you know, just really just humble myself and realize, like, yo, no matter what happens in here, none of this shit means anything. Like, I done seen people who I done got into it with in jail on the street. I done seen people who I fuck with in jail on the street. Some of the people I used to fuck with in jail I don't even talk to on the street. Then there's some people who I might have got into it with in jail where we was able to have a real conversation just based off what transpired. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, it's just like, yo, one thing I learned is like, yo, you don't choose when you're done with the streets, unfortunately. Like, you done did some shit, like, you done did some shit at the end of the day where the streets is always gonna decide if they done with you, you know? But the truth is this, I could die right now and be happy. Because at the end of the day, I chose to go home and do something different. And not just follow the same shit. And that's the biggest thing I like about me just being different. Like, I go out literally, bro, like, I was in the club all weekend. As soon as it got back to tap in, it's time to work. But sometimes even coming from the club 6 in the morning, I go from the club and then 6 in the morning I'm going straight to the gym. Like, so it's like, what's your excuse?
What's the biggest message that you wanted to convey coming up here today?
The biggest message I could convey, honestly, man, is just like, yo, man, don't fall subject to like what people think, bro. Like, at the end of the day, bro, make your own rules. Like, I'm not telling you what those rules need to be, But yo, find your own lane. If you like to draw, if you like to act, fuck it, go try to be an actor. Yo, spit. Yo, I swear to God, one of the most greatest artists I've ever seen. Like, yo, you need to do that comic book, bro. But he had comic books, like literally, like, and this is the dude from the hood.
Yeah.
Like,
think outside the box.
Exactly. And then when I got into this sales job, I was like, damn, this is really not that outside the box. Like, it's like a cult of people who do this.
Do you feel like you've like been lied to for so long and you're like, man, this is easy. Why were they selling me the streets and I bought it?
On God, yo, literally, like, I ended up in this job and now I get to travel for free, work in 25 states, DC, Puerto Rico. Like, you telling me this has been at people's hand, like, and then I realized sales is life. And then when I work these neighborhoods, right? It's one of 3 people that live in these big ass houses. Doctors, politicians and judges, salespeople. Whether it's medical, you'll meet a lot of people who work in medical sales. You'll meet a lot of people who work, like medical sales is a big profession. Pharmaceutical, it's sales.
Yeah.
You gotta go to places and put your shit in there, like, you know, and promote it. And that's just like my job. My job is a little bit frowned upon because we waking people up. You know?
Especially in the age of cell phones, it's like, who the hell am I doing right now?
The biggest thing about my job is this, right? I can call it the biggest thing about my job is because of the world that we live in and how social norm is constructed now. I'll go to your house, knock on your door, show you my ID, tell you where I'm from, tell you value credentials about me. You'll still look at me with a hint of skepticism, right? And as soon as you close that door, you're gonna go online and probably buy something off that website that you have no idea how to validate if that shit's even real. But that's the way life is now because of just like all the weirdos that's in the world, people being kidnapped on the street or people being snatched off the street. Don't nobody want to open their door 9 times out of 10. They rather go online and purchase it. At least they got, you know? So now my biggest thing is that I become personable with people at these doors, man. Like I let my personality shine. I let my personality shine. Like these people, you know, they talk about loss. I talk about loss.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I just lost my sister, you know? Like, and they'd be like, what? Like, type shit. And I show them a picture, like, I'm not lying. But you never know what being at that door. Like, I done had people to be like, yo, honestly, like, yo, I ain't going solar, but yo, this was a great conversation we had today. Like, I really appreciate it. Like, yo, like, I done walked in on dudes whose wife just cheated on him with his best friend. Like, I'm like, all right, man, you have a good day, man. I'm like, you know what? Here goes some money for a beer, man. Go get you a beer. Like, literally type thing, you know? Like, you never know because when you're knocking on somebody's door, that's their downtime. Yeah, I'm on the clock, you know? But the biggest thing about it is I'm not relegated to work in one area. I was in Pittsfield last week. Fucking Pittsfield. Drove 3 hours. It was worth it to go close a deal. But it's so ill because, like, yo, in this profession, yo, it's so much fucking money.
What advice would you give to somebody, man, just
Try
came
it.
home? Somebody that just came home, yeah.
Yo, my advice to somebody coming home is just be like, yo, just take it one day at a time, bro. And know you got resources. All you got to do is ask. Yo, Open Sky, yo, I swear to God, they need to give that company, they need to give that place their flowers, bro.
Yeah.
That shit
them. I never even heard of them. Salute to them. Yeah, absolutely.
They move mountains, bro. Like, there's funding. Most of us all come out with Mass Health. I got an apartment. I paid for my car, but my apartment, I ain't had the money for that shit coming home.
Raft,
like,
you got stuff like that.
First, last, security, paid for. Literally just because I was a felon and I got Mass Health. Like, people don't realize how much funding there really is for people such as us because they just go back to the regular shit. All you gotta do is look. Just like you start to look at those case laws, and you know, hey, this case law is gonna help me get out of jail. This program's gonna help me better my life. I had a job fair. I did my first job fair at the DCU Center. Oh, shit. Literally me giving out jobs. I'm just like, yo, this shit is crazy. I seen COs there looking for jobs. Wow. And I'm at the DCU giving out jobs. Like, it's all on my Instagram and shit like that. But it's just like that's the type of power like I got now. Like, I can get a person a job.
That feels good. Tell me why you wanted to come up here today, man.
I seen your podcast and I was like, that's fire. One of my close friends I seen on here, like we was mad, we was not want to say close friend, but we mad cool. From Brockton. I seen him on here. We done known each other since we was kids. Crazy thing is he's related to my friend that passed away, which I ended up finding out. You know, like his dad and his dad and her grandma, my boy's grandmom is brother and sisters. So seeing him on there, and I'm just like, damn, he used to be a hothead too. We both used to be, he was worse than me. You know what I mean? He was younger than me, even more turned up. Right. So now seeing him on here, like, damn, bro done grew up. Like, I sent him a text message and everything. Like, I had to. Like, yo, your interview was fire, bro. Like your interview was fire. You know what I mean? Like, and then I even seen people, like, people start sending me interviews, like there was a kid on here, like, I ain't gonna say his name or nothing like that, you know, but he spoke on me, you know, and I was just like, what the hell? Like, that's your platform. Like, don't use that for me. But come to find out, he was using it for, he wanted to shed light on different, more positive things. So I was like, all right, cool, I respect it. Yeah. Because at first I'm just like, why the fuck you talking about a situation that we happen in jail? Like, that's just over with, bro. You know, but once we spoke like men. He stated it. I was able to accept where he came from and left it at that, you know? Yeah. So then I just started seeing more and more people come on your platform, and it's like, we was been supposed to make this happen, you know what I mean? But
how's your teeth, by the way?
Yeah, I got my shit pulled, man. My shit good now, though, but that root canal had me in the clutch, bro. But yeah, I've been wanting to come on it just because I felt like, you know, let's talk about something different. Yeah. Different resources, different avenues, you know what I mean? Like, absolutely. I feel like, you know, like I told you earlier, like about Muhammad Ali, like, the people don't make you the people's champ. You make yourself the people's champ. And when you start getting those views from, like, you know, Marky Mark and them and stuff like that, that's just validation. Like, yo, you doing the right thing. Then when you start receiving anonymous grants and donations and stuff like that, and then next thing you know, it's like, yeah, come out to the bounce back in New York. Yeah. Or we got the studio in New York. Like, that's the goal, you know, expand. You know, at the end of the day, you always want to, you know, just keep growing you. And that's what I like about this situation. It gives people the opportunity to grow, take people on here that literally they snatched up as kids. Like, people like me, like Brazy, like, that was just on here. Like, I happened to see him at the Mother's Day walk. Shout out to him with his group, the Prison Transformational Project, him and his boy B-Nut. And they doing real good things, you feel me? And this is people who was looked at as menaces, or they might have tried to label as menaces and stuff like that, you know? And they doing real positive stuff in the community. Like, and they had the saying on there is, hurt people hurt people. Yeah, facts. Healed people heal people. Most of us in the streets is hurt. Whether it's from a home, whether it's from losing somebody in the street, we just want somebody else to feel what we feel. Word. And that's what I learned, you know, just like at the end of the day, man, just stay humble, man, and just, yo, I realized the word motion is real. Yeah. Yo, on some real, if you having a bad day, just still do it. Yeah. Like, I didn't want to go to work today. I was hungover like a motherfucker. But I got up and went to work. Word. Like, as simple as that. And my job is, I don't gotta type, you feel me? Like, I ain't gotta clock in. I can easily slack, you know? But I like big checks.
And I appreciate you coming here too, man. So I don't know if there's anything you wanted to touch on, you didn't get a chance to touch on, or just some closing words before I let you go, bro. I appreciate you coming through.
Nah, my biggest thing, man, honestly, man, people who know me, man, know, like, I learned the biggest thing is this, right? All being real is just being you. Like, being real is not being a real nigga. Like, that being real is just being you. If you know you ain't with that shit no more, be real enough to tell those people I ain't with that shit no more. So that way you don't put yourself in a position where you end up causing harm to somebody else's life because you still wanted to act like you was with the shits. Yeah. You got it, bro. Like, type shit, you know? Yep. But that's really it, bro. Just being real is just being you. Absolutely. Like, and that's the biggest thing I could say, bro. Find your lane and stick in it.
I feel that 100% too. It's like, because if you try to be somebody you're not, you're going to have all the wrong people around for the wrong reasons, and the people that probably would have messed with you, the real you, is not even going to be around. So it's like, you better off being yourself, and the people that are around you for you and don't like you for the real you, then that's cool. We could let the chips fall where they may.
That's a fact. That's a big fact, bro. And at the end of the day, I just tell people, man, like, yo, bro, if you know your heart ain't in this shit, get the fuck up out. Yeah. Cause you either gonna end up on wax, or you're gonna end up in the dirt.
And that's why we're here to tell the story and tell what really comes with it, man. So guys, listen, I appreciate you coming through.
You know the vibes, my guy.
It is what it is. What's next is what you make it. The Bounce Back Podcast. I'm your boy B Luke. One more time, why don't you tell the people who you are and give them your Instagram too.
Oh yeah, my name is Damonte. You can follow me at Mante92. The business page, D Burrell Solar. Go run that up, man. You know, gotta switch things up, man. But like I said, man, anybody interested in a job, thinking that they could try their hand at sales, I got the pay stubs to prove it, what it could potentially do. Like, hit me up, man, for real, bro. Like, if you tired of working a 9 to 5, the biggest reason I work commission is because I'll never let a person tell me what I'm worth anymore. Even if I went to school for 4 years and I'm better than that 40-year-old person, at that industry, they're going to value me at $20, $25 an hour. Yeah. My job is simply based off hard work. If I had a $10,000 week, it's because I had a $10,000 work ethic. Right. You know, so I never just, I'll never let somebody just cap my work ethic anymore, you know? So this industry is lucrative. You can ask some of your friends about it, man, you know, but we always recruiting, always looking for people to come get jobs. Shit, if you don't want to get a job, just refer somebody. I can pay you $1,000 for that.
Word, guys.
Literally.
You heard it there. But on that note. Ain't got a moment when they see you down this